Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out today. My name is State Representative Erika Thomas, and I serve on the board of the People's Uprising Task Force. We are here today in an obvious fashion, and everyone knows why we are here. We don't want to be here in this fashion. Last Sunday was Rayshard Brooks' birthday. And instead of the family planning a dinner for the first birthday that he is not here to celebrate, they were planning strategy on how they were going to go about the case that they did not know was going to be moved out of Fulton County DA's office. They were not notified, but they were notified by the newspaper. As you can see, our hearts dropped when we read that article because we have fought so hard to make sure that justice is served on so many different occasions. So simply put, today we gather to call on the Attorney General's office to do something simple, and that is to give this case to a similar Metro Atlanta, to give this case to a similar Metro Atlanta DA that has the experience and has the resources to try this case. And when we say resources, we say things like a victim advocates department. The AG's office does not have a victim advocate department, but DA's offices do. And the families deserve to have victims advocates. Also, we need a jurisdiction that has tried use of force cases.
Yes.
We don't have time for you to get some training on how to do it. We want someone that has done it before and knows the procedures and can give us the justice and the family, first of all, the justice that they deserve. With that being said, I will now turn it over to Councilman Antonio Brown.
If you wouldn't mind, sir, holding this?
Holding it?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being out here. As State Representative Erika Thomas stated, we didn't want to be out here today. This was not our intentions. We established the People's Uprising in May of 2020. And the purpose of this organization was to address the systemic oppression that evoked uprisings in the city of Atlanta and the state of Georgia. When Rayshard Brooks was killed, I was on the scene of the incident. And it was extremely unfortunate that we had to witness another unarmed Black man be killed in this city. And the reality is, we can't continue to be out here fighting for justice if we're not doing it together. And as we stand here, we're asking for the city to support and the state to support this case going to another municipality, another county that can truly be able to give this case a fair chance. Without further ado, I want to bring forward an activist, an organizer, someone that has been in this fight for a very, very long time, Kimberly Jones.
We made a promise to the people. When we stood in the streets and we marched, when we made commercials together, when we wore uniforms on NBA floors, when we wrote books, when we made movies, when we formed task force like this that have people from business, entertainment, activists, people, legislators. We made a promise to the people. We made a promise to the people that we were writing a new contract where they were going to finally see justice. We made a promise to the people that we had awakened our eyes and that we saw the wrongs and the ills and we were going to do right by them. We made that promise to the people. They didn't ask us to be in leadership. We chose it. They didn't ask us to run for these seats. They chose it. When we endorsed candidates, we were making a promise to the people. I am both honored and saddened to have to stand here with Rayshard's wife today. And you notice I said wife and not widow because he lives. He lives in her. And he needs to live amongst the people. We have to keep posting his picture. We have to keep saying his name. We have to keep fighting for him because we made that promise to the people. And are we going to break the new contract that we made already? We were supposed to create a new social contract where we were supposed to get justice. But how do people in this city feel that they get justice when 2 college kids get tased and the people who tased them are going back to work with back pay? That's not the promise that we made to the people.
Talk about it.
This is called the people's uprising because the power is in the people. It's the people's ability to hire and fire. That's their vote. And so we voted for people who promised us that they would give us justice, that we wouldn't have to stand here and have these conversations anymore, that his wife would be able to celebrate his birthday instead of planning how she was going to get justice. She is one of the people. She pays taxes. She doesn't work for us. We work for her.
Yes, yes.
We need to keep that promise. We owe the people a new social contract where they believe that they are going to get the justice, where due process is fair. And this case, the Rayshard Brooks case, was just as important to the civil unrest of 2020 as Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. The world is watching. What are we going to do? How do we represent as the home of King on how we give people justice, equity, equality? This is what we have to do. We have to do right by this family to set the standard on the promises that we made to the people. So next, I'm going to bring up my good brother, the justice fighter and vice president of the Atlanta chapter of the NAACP, Gerald Griggs.
I hate having to come to these things. On June the 13th, 2020, I stood in this very same spot. After June the 12th, 2020, a young brother, a son of Atlanta, was gunned down in that parking lot. And I saw his family, I saw the community members, I saw the activists, and I saw certain elected officials who said that he was going to get justice. And here we are, still demanding justice. Let's talk about what happened to Rayshard Brooks. Rayshard was in the Wendy's parking lot. He had fallen asleep and he was awakened by members of the Atlanta Police Department. He was subjected to field sobriety evaluations where he continued to say, "My sister just lived over the hill. Can I just go home to my sister over the hill?" He was very coherent. He knew exactly what was going on. And then it escalated into a struggle at which Rayshard was fighting for his life. And as he was running away, he was shot by Officer Garrett Rolfe and Officer Devin Brosnan. And the city was in an uproar because we had just witnessed George Floyd, and we had been protesting for about 13 days when Atlanta became ground zero for the social justice revolution. And we all saw it. So we all gathered in this now hallowed spot to demand justice for Rayshard Brooks and Rayshard's family. And we made a promise to them that we reassert today, we will get justice for Rayshard. And we will say his name. Because many of us have been to Minnesota, many of us have been to Louisville, many of us have been to Brunswick, but this is Atlanta. This is our home. This is the birthplace of civil rights. And we will get justice for Rayshard. So as a member of the NAACP, as a member of this community, we are sending a message. We want this case to be sent to a similarly situated jurisdiction so that Rayshard's family can get justice, so that our brother and sister from Spelman and Morehouse can get justice. And we're also sending a message to all of our elected officials. We may not be marching right now because we just marched to the polls, but we're watching you. We want justice for our brother, and we want it right now. So we're issuing a challenge to every elected official to do what's right. You know, Dr. King always said the time is right to do what's right. Well, we need to start living Dr. King instead of quoting him. We need to make sure that we truly are the city too busy to hate by sending people that violate the law to prison for a long time, whether they wear the blue or they wear another color. Justice and equity must be balanced with truth. So we're calling on all of our prosecutors within the sound of my voice to live up to your campaign slogans, to make sure that justice is fair and balanced, and that we prosecute people that break the law. So, with that, Atlanta, we got a police brutality problem. Georgia, we got a police brutality problem. We have to do something about it. So as the people's uprising, we were stood up for that very purpose, and we will do something about it. So, prosecute the police.
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 And justice for Rayshard Brooks. Thank you.
Rayshard Brooks.
Thank you so much for that, Gerald Griggs, Attorney Gerald Griggs. And now we are going to have Rayshard Brooks' wife, Tamika Brooks, to speak.
First off, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It means so much to me. It lets me know that I'm not standing alone. When I received this message on the media, I fell to my knees and I cried. My children didn't understand why I was crying and I couldn't explain it to them. I wrote down a few things that I kind of just want people to understand what I'm feeling. Rayshard Brooks was trying to de-escalate at the very beginning of his interaction with Garrett Roth. The fact that he was shot twice in his back and then kicked showed not just that Officer Ralph did not care, but he became in his feelings, and his police duty was no longer the matter of fact of what he needed to do.
You got this.
You got it.
Take your time.
You got this, sis.
You got it.
We love
We
you.
here.
You got this.
You got this.
But not only that, as he stood over my husband, they was more concerned about calling the tow service and medical assistance. And anybody who feels that that was a justified shooting, I feel that you should sit down and rethink that, because nothing was just about a man being shot in his back and left to die, stood on and kicked, treated as a dog. Garrett Roth showed that he was privileged. When they funded him that money on his GoFundMe, he took that money and went on vacation. The community pleaded and we begged and we cried and we asked that they revoke his bond. And they did not. That hurt me. I felt that was disrespectful. When Fani did not give out her condolences to me, not once, and then not even let me know what was going on, that was another slap in the face of disrespect. The amount of disrespect that I have taken, I don't know how much I can take. I've led on my faith, and I continue to stay humble throughout this whole situation. But enough is enough. I am tired, and I want justice, not only for my husband, but justice for all who have been unjust by the police. I stand here today asking that Fani really think about what she did, because not only did you hurt me, but you hurt everyone who was out here, who was counting on you to do the right thing. You said you don't run from hard cases, but baby, you ran from this one. You didn't even take the time to look at the GBI report.
That's right.
I ask that somebody please take into consideration of how I feel, how my family feel. We'll never see Rayshard again. And all I can do is only think about how he was mistreated at his last breath. He never got to say goodbye to his kids. He never got to say goodbye to me. So today I stand asking for justice for all. Justice for those college students. Justice for my husband.
We did it.
And it will be served. I will get justice. I won't stop fighting until I get justice. No matter how long I have to keep fighting, I will not stop.
Yes, that's right.
God is my witness, I won't stop. This city will feel my pain. I will no longer stay quiet. I will no longer stay behind closed doors and listen to the disrespect that I am receiving.
No justice.
No
peace.
No justice.
No peace.
I think that with all that was said, I think we said enough. I think enough was said, but we will take one or two questions. And if there's not any questions,
Well, one question. I guess the obvious, what's your next best move? Can you slide over to
Well, I just want to say something that I think is incredibly important. That is, the city and state are, the People's Uprising is an organization made up of elected officials, both city and state, activists, community organizers. So we've already made our ask of this state, of Attorney General Carr. They need to give us justice. That is what we're asking for today. Now, when you think about the city of Atlanta, I've already put forth legislation to establish a Department of Public Safety and Wellness, because Rayshard Brooks would still be alive to this day if we had a division of non-emergency response that residents can call on instead of calling the police. And the problem is, this work should have been done. I represent communities that have been poor for 40 years in this city. And what you see happening in this city is a side effect of generational poverty going unaddressed for this long. And enough is enough. His wife, this city has broken her to her core. And we owe them justice, complete justice. And to those college students from the AUC, it wasn't right. And the fact is the city has failed them. Because we did not follow due process, they are now reinstated with back pay. Without their cases being properly reviewed. Without them being held accountable. How do we operate in a city when we don't hold folks accountable? What example are we setting for residents in this city? We must do better.
Yes.
all right, thank you everyone for coming. And we hope that through this message that we sent today, that it's not about us. You see state representatives here, you see city councilmen here, but most importantly, you see the family here. And we stand with Tamika Brooks, not just today, because I want y'all to understand, not just today, but we stand with them I talk to Tamika almost every single day. We hang out. We have become friends, and that is of everyone that stands with me. We love her. And not only is justice going to be served, we will fight tooth and nail until it's done. Because as elected officials, as attorneys, as activists standing here together, we are standing up and letting people know that it's not just about the cameras. When the cameras are turned off, we are still fighting for justice. Thank you.